So that's one bike out and then one bike in. I know it shouldn't happen, but I got too tempted by this one because of the group set. But today I kind of want to go through it and see if I can actually identify it, or if you guys can help me properly identify it, because it's been painted and I'm not entirely sure what model or even make it is. Okay, so as I said, it's a Scott, or it's badged as a Scott. This blue is not the original blue, and the white on the fork is not the original white. I can tell the fork isn't original, or original colour, because it's got the flex stone chips on it where the original fluoro yellow has come through, and I'll show you that in a second. But initially my original intention was to turn this bike into a 1x10, which I'm still probably going to do, and take a bit of inspiration from Ultraval's latest video and do my own fluoro fade, a pink to orange to yellow. But I do want to find out what exactly this bike is, because it has potential to be one of the team models. The first point I'm going to look at is around the seat post itself. The seat post is weirdly quite a large size. It's a 30mm, and it's also been cut. There we go. So someone's lopped that off at one point, but it's a 30mm seat post, which is weirdly a very large size for an old bike. But the top tube guiding is something to look out for. Some of the top spec Scotts from the early 90s had the top tube routing. It's very specific to models. Some of the derailleur ones, or most of the derailleur ones, had it on the down tube, so it fed underneath the bottom bracket. Very few had it along the top. So top tube mounting is something to look out for. But the thing is, this frame has also got this, what would you call it? A lug? It's not quite a lug, because it's welded. Welded there, and lugged. Or is it brazed? Can't tell. No, welded. It's welded. But it's the same diameter all the way down, so why? Everything else is just welded put together, maybe to increase strength. And it's got obviously the looped cable stop here, and then the rack mounts. Also, just to double check, it is a steel frame. These pedals are aluminium, so it doesn't stick to them at all. That's a steel frame. Now the wheel set it has isn't original, or doesn't appear to be. It hasn't got matching ones. This is just a freewheel, cheaper freewheel hub. It's not even done up properly. So I think we can discount the wheels from any sort of investigation. And also the frame has been crushed. This wheel set is too small for the frame, because it's just expanded as I took it out. Now, as I said, I was interested in the group set on this, because this group set is Dior XT, which apparently won't loosen that cable. It's the Shimano Dior XT, and these brake, the cantilevers, the arms themselves, are the M730 variety. Now that can put a bit of a date onto things, but if I can find the date code on them itself, which if you have a look round, there's nothing on there. There we go. The date code on the back is R L Romeo Lima. So I'll put that on screen what the date is. But the actual code for the brakes is on this one here. My bad, I read the code wrong. It's a BR M737, not a 730. So it is a later bike. Potentially, what does that put it around? 94? I don't know. We'll check. We'll see by the date code that I put on screen. Now here's something interesting for you. These straddle wires actually have on them Scott SE. So you know, I'm not even sure the XT is original. The Scott SE, so I'm pretty confident this is a Scott. The Scott SE stands for self-energizing, and from the research that I've done so far, Scott had their own self-energizing cantilever brakes, so perhaps this originally came with those. So I'll keep this. Okay, rear mech is also Dior XT. It's the version with the orange writing on it, and I'm gonna need my snippers. Make sure that goes back on before I lose it. The code on this is M735 RD M735, and the date stamp is, I don't know what that is at the moment. Let's have a look. Oh, this is filthy. Not the worst. I can't see the date stamp off the top of my head. I'll have to have a look for that one. Front derailleur is also Dior XT. It is the M736 variety, and if the seat post is a massive 30mm, I'm expecting this to be a big clamp. Oh jeez. Well, when they've painted it, it's stuck in the paint. It's 31.8 clamp. Wow. So if the seat post is 30mm and that's a 31.8 tube, then obviously the wall thickness of this tube is only 0.9mm. Oh, and I forgot to say the date stamp for this derailleur is Papa Hotel, PH. Okay, the crankset has some odd caps. Oh joy! Someone's forced this plastic cap in. Oh, got it. It fractured. Yeah, forget that plastic cap. But the crankset itself is an M730. I can check that on the other arm. It's an FC M730 with a PD stamp, a Papa Delta. Just noticed as well, there is a bolt missing. One of the bolts is missing there. The inner ring is obviously, the middle ring has been replaced at some point. Actually, potentially all the rings. I don't see any Shimano stamping on this outside ring either. So yeah, maybe it's been looked after. Ah, there we go. Hey Torvi, people have been asking where you're going, or where you've been. Yep, hiding in the shade because it's so warm. Now I'm expecting this bottom bracket to be an absolute pain to get out, but here's something else to take note of. It is top pull, but it has a little attachment here to add a little pulley on, a little guide pulley, so you can actually run a bottom pull derailleur on here as well. So it will come down, run around the pulley, and then come back up. Or at least I believe that's what that's for. I believe it is. I could be wrong, you know, sometimes I am. So this needs to go tighter. Oh god, yeah. Oh no, there we go. I've cracked it. Okay, that was actually well greased. That bottom bracket was well greased. Well done to whoever put that in. Oh wow, that's rusty. It's a UN51, so actually it's quite old. Okay, so now we're up top. The one thing I can see straight away, on this side at least, is the original mounting point for the brake lever and the original mounting point for the shifter have got weird, stupid bolts on, and it looks like I might have to cut the shifter's one off because it is about an inch sticking out the back, and that is no good for me to try and undo. But the bars look, you know, fairly new, Calloy bars. Chuck that. Those plugs don't have a brand on. Why did I start with this side? The brake levers are the BL M733. So if anyone's got any of the original mounting hardware for these, that would be great. So yeah, BL M733 says on the back, Japan 22.2mm, reach adjust. As for a date stamp, I like these ones as well because they've got like a little piston in there. As for a date stamp, I don't know where it's hiding on this one. Oh geez, how am I going to get that out? I honestly don't know how I'm going to get this out because the bolt has been forced in there. I guess I'll have to take off the other side and get that off. But these shifters, I believe, it looks like MT32. So those look like the MT32, unless they're the M732. T and the 7 look quite similar. The stem is a strange one. It looks uneven. So whether it has been replaced or whether it has been welded together, I'm not sure, but there's a huge bulge on this side. So it's either a cheap stem that's been added or someone's repaired it, but I can't see this coming out of factory with this huge bulge on this side and a relatively flat side there. We're going to try and get it out. Maybe it's seized, maybe it's not. No, does it fit? Oh, it's barely in there. Okay. So we'll clean up this stem because it's definitely got some writing on it. But I'll clean up that in a second. Okay, here we are down to the last part. It's fairly nice Tioga Avenger headset, 1 1/8 inch, which isn't really done up tight at all. Cool. A little cable hanger. I don't know, appears to be generic, but there we go. No, it was black. They've sanded it down, so whatever logo was on there before is non-existent. I have seen these with Ritchie on. Maybe it is a Ritchie. By the way, the racing version of this, is meant to have Ritchie dropouts. and a Tange frame. So I'll do some investigation in a second once we've got this fork out. So we've got bearing races inside. There we go, and there you go, there's the original fork colour. So it was a fluoro yellow fork, 100%. So now we know that the fork was yellow. You can even tell here. I believe the team version has the similar style fork as this, with this design, but there's also something stamped there, and it should say Ritchie. Let me clean that up. Well, there we go. It's not a Ritchie fork. That's a shame. It's a Spinner TFO. Can you even see that? Yeah. Excuse the mess, but as I'm actually doing this, I'm forwarding pictures on to Keith, who actually has a, oh god, I think it's a 92 or 93 Scott Racing, Team Racing, with the fluoro yellow fork, with the XT group set with the black frame, which I believe the frame should be black. And I've just forwarded the pictures on with the fork, and he says it's exactly the same. His forks also have the Spinner TFO, not the Ritchie dropouts. The frame should also have the same, so I'll do that in a second. But I just wanted to investigate what was going on with this stem here, because that looks like a really bad weld to me. It's got like splatter all over the back as well. So it either looks like this has been cut off, re-welded at a different angle, or shortened and re-welded, because you know these stems are normally quite long. So got a bit of yellow coming through. 100% filler. So this stem has been cut, maybe shortened, badly welded. They've tried to fill it. Let me just take a picture. But I'll flip it round, see if we can find a brand. Oh, what a shame. Okay, so it says max height 25.4 chromo Ritchie. It's a Ritchie stem that's been cut, welded. Oh, I can't swear because yeah. So there's two more places I want to check. Rear dropout, which should also be stamped. Strange thing is, it looks like this frame had a blue layer on it. That's not stamped with anything. And that's not stamped with anything, so the frame is not stamped. Now we also want to check the bottom bracket, because there should be a serial number on here. Should be. Okay, so the bottom bracket doesn't actually have any serial number on it whatsoever. I don't think it's from my flap disc, but there are some grind marks in it, and it's been bashed about around the face. You've got some cuts in there and some bulges, so it's someone's had a hard time getting their bottom bracket out here before. With that being the non-drive side, that could have been the lock ring. Someone's been like trying to smash off the lock ring. Yeah, I don't know. Those grind marks. I'm just trying to feel it. It feels. I know the edge comes up, but it feels lower on these sections, so it almost looks like the serial number's been ground off for some strange reason. Yeah, it's definitely thicker in the middle there than there. The serial number's been ground off. Don't worry, it's not actually clamped in there, it's just resting. But when it comes to the original colour of this frame, I'm pretty convinced it's black. Underneath this dark blue that it's in now is a black, as I've sanded back and found the black. Underneath that black is this light blue, which you can see all sort of splattered and sprayed down the tube. And underneath that is black. Underneath that is metal. So, to me, it looks like the frame potentially was black at one point originally, and then got sprayed this light blue, because I can't imagine this being a factory thing. The headset will definitely not have been in there to get sprayed at factory, and then it was later sprayed or brushed on this dark blue. So the frame is still a bit of a mystery to me. And here's what I can tell you about the alignment of the frame. The dropouts are slightly out. Yeah, very slightly, so that should be easily corrected. The frame appears to be also slightly out. Like I've got a gap of about 2mm this side to that very tip of the dropout. Whereas this side we're pretty much spot on. So the frame appears to be, how does this work now? Yeah, slightly skewed to the non-drive side, ever so slightly, and the dropouts are misaligned again slightly. So I wonder what the story is here with this bike. We've got a Scott decaled frame. We've got XT parts from 1991 with the P stamp. We've got the Scott self-energizing straddle hanger, a weirdly large 30mm seat post. We've got the fork and the stem from the Team Racing model. But there are a few things that don't match. Oh, and we've got the ground off serial numbers. The things that don't match, I'm looking at the 92 catalogue right now. Obviously it should have the Scott self-energizing brakes, which appear to, maybe it was an option, it's been switched out to the XT to match the rest of the group. Obviously the stem has been cut, maybe shortened, because you know old stems are quite long. The cable routing is an interesting one. The cable routing from the 92 catalogue does not match this bike. It is top tube ran, but the front derailleur is sort of top tube but on the underside. So the mounting points are slightly different for that. I'm not sure about the little braze on that's underneath the derailleur, whether that's for a pulley or not. What else can we see from this catalogue? Keith's bike says he definitely doesn't have a 30mm seat post on his Scott, so where has this 30mm come from? Don't know. Anything else? So if anyone else has got a Scott Team Racing from 91 or 92, let me know because I want to try and identify this properly. If it is a Team Racing model, then obviously it's quite, you know, a decent model from that time, and I'll probably restore it back to how it was originally. But yeah, what's the story with this bike, I wonder? I just thought I'd bring you along with this little investigation, so that everyone can be involved in it. If it doesn't turn out to be the Team Racing model, I'll just turn it into the 1x10, do the fluro scheme, which was my intention. If it is the Team Racing, I will probably restore it to what it was, the Team Racing, because it's a rare model. In fact, I think a lot of Scotts are rare. But yeah, it's a top spec model. Not quite the best, because you know you would have XTR, but let me know what you think. Type it all down in the comments. Share your Scotts if you've got them. If you want to send me a picture on Instagram or Facebook, go ahead. But yeah, I'm intrigued to try and work out what this bike actually is. But those few things, the top tube routing, the 30mm seat post, throw me off a little bit. Let me know. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Comment all the stuff down below, like it, subscribe for more for the follow-up if we find out what it is, and I'll catch you in the next video.